a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six pack, sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six pack, sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six pack, sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dashers podcast. Grab a six pack, sit back and prepare to laugh.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 242 of the Drunk Dashers podcast. I'm your host, as always. I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself. Whoa, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Tyler. I am doing fantastic. Well, gaming has been really a good theme for this week for me. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, dude. It's like, I've been doing some major research upon games on the eShop. There's been so many games releasing digitally on the Switch's eShop that I have literally been trying to do little investigating here and there just to see what exactly I want to play on that system. I mean, it's a work in progress still. Yeah. But I have personally went over, I kid you not, maybe like 150 or 200 games, like give or take.
Wow. Basically
trying to just dissect things. If some games are interesting or some, I look up some footage on YouTube or look up some like reviews and, well, there's at least almost 100 games that I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
But
that list is going to get longer, it seems like, every week, looking at the quality of some of the games coming out.
Oh, man. That's not even the half of it. But as long as it doesn't go like a Steam or like a freaking PlayStation Network or Xbox One marketplace where it's like the shit is just burying like the good stuff, you know, that's pretty much what I asked for, not to bury any of the damn good stuff. But anyway, man, I'm doing all right. How have you been doing, Tyler?
Doing all right. Long week. It's getting busier and busier every week, so I haven't really had time to jump into any single one game, but I've been playing a plethora of games and made a big purchase this week.
Yeah.
Talked a little bit about it on Twitter, but I bought the PlayStation VR.
Ooh.
Oddly, just so happened to get it the same day the last Guardian VR demo came out, but I mean that's neither here or there. But
it's so you.
No, don't do that. No, yeah. But they had I was just kind of looking, and I like they're like $100. All the bundles they have for the VR headset are $100 off. I think now through the I think maybe the end of the week it's coming. It's gonna be, the sale's done soon. I think it was only for a couple weeks, and I was just kind of looking, and I had some Best Buy money built up, and they had I was actually just gonna buy. It was a $200 bundle, came with everything you needed, and a Gran Turismo Sports, I think is what it's called,
yeah,
and which is the full game plus the headset, and the game just came a couple months ago. It's still $60. I was like, cool, I'll buy that, and I'll use my Best Buy points to get it for like $150. And then I started to look at it, and back in October they re-released they released a slightly upgraded version of the PSVR. It wasn't really anything major. It's just kind of a couple less plugins. They made it easier for people when wanting to. You have to like unhook the there's like a little box that looks like the PS4 Pro. It's like a mini PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
That you hook there's like 6 things you gotta hook up to this thing. There's a bunch of wires for this PSVR. The setup process is crazy. But I guess if you want to have HDR while you play games on your PS4, you had to unhook the box and plug everything back in normally. And then when you want to play PS4 games, the PSVR, you had to hook everything back up. So the nice thing now with this, the new box they have, is I can just leave everything plugged in and still get HDR and all that stuff, especially with me having the Pro. But you can get HDR whether you have the Pro or not. But that's kind of nice. Yeah, pick that up. And so instead of get the $200 version with the GT Sports, includes the old model. So I was like, well, I might as well get the newer model. It's gonna make things a little nicer and a little simpler, especially if I'm gonna be jumping in and out of this thing. And I found for $350 came with everything you needed. Well, let me backtrack. I was gonna get the Doom one because I really wanted to play Doom VFR. But that one's $300, but it doesn't come with the move remotes. So I'm like, well, what the hell is the point of that? So for an extra $50, I got the Skyrim bundle that comes with everything you need. I'm just gonna sell Skyrim because I don't like Skyrim. But it comes with Skyrim VR. I think it's just is it the full Skyrim game or is it just a VR? I'm not really sure. I have to look into it actually. It just says Skyrim VR on the box on the case, but I don't know if it's the full game or not too. But yeah, so I got that bundle. I picked up a crap ton of games. I got Doom VFR, and it just so happened this week that they had a big sale on like there's a big holiday sale, but there's also a bunch of like VR games on sale. Mm-hmm. So I picked up Farpoint. What else did I get? I got a list here actually. I bought VR World, PlayStation VR World. It's normally like $20. It's like $6. It's basically just a bunch of like mini tech demos. Batman VR I bought. I bought this NBA 2K VR. It was $1. So I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And then they have a bunch of free shit on there too. And then like they have a bunch of demos and stuff you can play. So I got. I'm thinking of a couple. There's a couple I bought that I can't think of off the top of my head. I don't know if I said Doom VFR, but I bought that. And then I pre-ordered that Accounting Plus. That was like everybody's losing their minds over. It comes out this Tuesday. It was shown off back at the Video Game Awards. That looks like it could be pretty good. So yeah, I picked up quite a few games, spent a decent amount of money on some of this stuff. But I guess I'm talking about it. If you're cool with it, just jump into, I guess, what we've been playing, because this is pretty much what I've been playing. So I played it for... I didn't really get a chance. I got it on Tuesday, but I didn't get a chance to play it until Friday night, just last night. And I played it for a few hours. I'll say played for a few hours, and I played for a couple hours this morning. Felt totally fine. Like a little wobbly when I first came out of it. But it was like I was fine, nothing wrong there. Played Rec Room, which is like it's just a beta right now, but I think it came out in the Vive and Oculus mid last year, I want to say. And or no, I'm not mid last year. I think I meant mid this year. And it's basically just like it's like going to a community center, you know, like they have like a bunch of little tiny games you can play. Like they have like paddleball, they have basketball, and my room has a very small ceiling, probably 7.5 feet tall. My room is, and I was playing, and it's kind of cool. So it's actually like basically like you're in like a rec room, and there's people, just like real people walking around in like this little mini looking people, and you kind of like teleport around. That's how you move. And there's like people have headphones on. You can hear them talking. There's these two kids running around just throwing crap around the room. And there's like games you can jump into and play against other people. Like I played paddleball, and there's like a laser. There's like a paintball looking game there too. And this one person just walked up to me and handed me a tennis racket. Like this real person walked up and we just started smacking this giant ball around. And then I'm like, I found like one of the rooms that is like a basketball court. I'm like, oh cool. So I picked up the basketball and I tried shooting it like a real basketball, not thinking, and about broke my finger on the ceiling. Actually scraped my knuckle up pretty good. So yeah, that was the first casualty of playing in VR. Yeah. I played the first night I played in the living room, and a lot more room, a lot taller ceiling. So that was kind of cool. I actually kind of like moved some shit around my room, so I have like now I have like a bigger area, because earlier I was playing it and I was like right up against the wall, so I kept reaching over and like hitting the wall with my hand. And I'm playing on my couch now, and like that, like I just kind of moved everything around, so I have a bigger area, so I can, if I do need to move or walk around, I can move my arms out. Can't do anything about the ceiling, but I can at least have a bigger area walking around because I've about tripped over some things before. But also, I played. They have a couple of, like the. So it comes with a demo disc. There's like the demo disc 2.0, and then there's the original demo disc that came with the original heads that came with last year. But you can just download them. And I played a few games on there. They have a job simulator demo.
Yeah.
Which is kind of everybody's go-to. Everybody says it's kind of the Wii Sports of the VR kind of thing, where it's just like job simulator is, where it just kind of shows you like the silly things you can do. Like, so basically, you just like you're not like, so the demo is like 10 minutes. You're just sitting in an office, and someone comes up to you and like they hand like you can grab donuts out of a box and eat the donuts, or you turn your computer on and you can just pick up things and I'm just like chucking it at people, like just paper airplanes, chucking it. So it's kind of cool. I mean, pretty much everything out right now, that most of the stuff I played is just kind of like tech demo stuff. That was kind of fun. I actually kind of I might pick that up. It's like $20 for that game. But I have noticed like a lot of, I kind of knew before, but I didn't realize a lot of these games are like really expensive. They're charging a premium price for some of this stuff. Another game I talked about, I bought, it was this normally $20. I got it for $5. It was VR World. Has this like ocean, there's like 5 or 6 different like little games on it. I played a couple of them. One was like Ocean Explorer, I think is what it's called. And it's just, you go, like you're in a cage underwater, and they like take you down to the bottom of the ocean. And it's just like, you see, it's kind of cool, just turning around and you're looking all around, and you don't do anything, you just kind of look around. But it was actually really cool looking. I think the coolest thing I saw of that was a game called London Heist, and you're actually like you're stealing a diamond, and you get in a car chase, and it's actually cool. You can actually pop the door open, and you can actually lean out and look behind you, and like shoot out the vehicle, and like in a car chase, and like you're in a shootout, and you're hiding behind a desk and kind of pop out and shoot. And that was kind of cool. My sister actually played it. She played the Drive Club VR demo. And she got in the car and she looked over, and she looked in the passenger, like because you can see on the screen what they can see. And she looked over at the the passenger seat, and she actually reached out to feel the leather of the passenger seat, and she was like, "Oh," forgetting that she's wearing this VR headset. And that happened to me a few times too when she was sitting there watching me play. And I'm like, "You see it over there?" And I'm pointing like to what I see, but she's looking at the screen. I'm like, I'm in the VR headset. And she's like you're pointing to the bedroom. I'm like, no, look at that over there. And I'm pointing at it. I'm pointing at like a fish or something like that, an Ocean Explorer. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, so I had to explain it to her. But it was kind of cool. Like, you're playing this VR, but like so quickly, like you are like sucked into this world, and like you're there. And I played on like the final straw for me of getting this, The Last Guardian VR. I played that this morning. It's only like probably 10 or 15 minutes, and there's more things you can do. Probably maybe 20 minutes. But at one point in this thing, it's actually like it was really cool. So this Last Guardian VR looks really good, really really good. But at one point you're actually like walking onto like this really thin ledge, and you're like balancing on this ledge. And I actually like you look down, you're like, you can't even see this. You're so far up, you can't even see the bottom. And I'm just like, oh my god. And I grabbed onto my couch and was like trying to balance. Like I actually thought I was on like this beam and about to fall over. And
fuck
so,
that shit.
Yeah. And so then the thing you gotta do in the regular Last Guardian game is you have to like, a lot of times the boy has to jump, and then Toriko catches him at the last second. Because you can't like jump across this ledge, and he can fly over, but then he's got to catch you. So at one point you actually got to jump, and he's got to catch you. And I felt like I was falling. I'm like, oh my god, I'm looking down. Last second he catches you. It was really cool. Like I said, it's like 10 minutes. And a lot of the stuff on here is just tech demos. I played a Playroom VR, which is kind of like I think like almost like the Nintendo Lands, the Wii U packing game. Or I played this one game. It's like a Ghostbuster game, and it's like a lot of the games in there are like 2 to 5 players on this Playroom VR, and it's free. And it's like one of the games on there we played is so other people can have the controller. Like we played one game, my sister and I did, where she had the controller, and she was a mouse and I was a cat, and she had cheese, and I'd like move with the helmet or with the VR headset to like catch her, and like that's how I controlled it, was by moving my head around. And she was a mouse with the cheese, and I'd catch her and take the cheese away from him. So that was kind of cool. And then we played this Ghostbuster one where it's like she can see the ghosts on the screen, and I have like the proton pack or whatever, and she's got to tell me where they are, and I got to point and shoot and find them. So that was kind of cool. And then like I played NBA 2K VR. Like I said, this game was only $1. Normally it's $5. This game's a ripoff for $5. It's basically like it's a catch and shoot kind of like mini game.
A 3-point
like,
challenge, pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's more just like beat the buzzer challenge where it's like so they chuck you the ball and you gotta like kind of figure out where it's gonna like you gotta catch it, like you gotta hold like the move controller, you gotta hold the R2, or maybe it's just a PlayStation controller. But you hold the button down, you catch it, but you gotta find the angle. Sometimes it's a lob pass, sometimes it's just a straight chest pass, and then you gotta like turn and you gotta shoot and try to line the shot up, and you got like 5 seconds to do all this. And every time you make it, they put you in like a harder shot or different angle, or like eventually the last one's like a half court shot, and you gotta try to nail as many of these as you can, and it gives me points as you can in like a certain amount of time. And that was really it. Like it's basically like a score challenge you can play with friends. But when I played Until Dawn's Rush of Blood, and it's basically just like you're on like a almost like a roller coaster ride. But you have a gun. You doing target practice, and like you end up like getting like taken off to the side area you weren't supposed to go into, and you're like there's like clowns trying to kill you. I only played the first level, but it was kind of cool. I liked that actually a lot. Like I actually scared the shit out of me a few times. But I played all these, felt fine. Like I said, no issues. I'm like, all right, I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling sick. 'Cause I played the Resident Evil 7 demo last year. Last year. It was right before the PSVR came out. It's actually what sold Justin on it and getting it day one. Damn, what was I saying? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I remember. I totally spaced out. So when I played it last year, and it kind of like turned me off a little bit, I played it, and it was only like a 15-minute demo. Like I was feeling a little queasy afterwards. Like I was actually kind of a little scared to drive because I felt a little loopy, and I was like, oh, I don't know if this is something I can do, or if this is something that we're ready for yet. But like I said, like I've said a few times, it's like the games are getting there. And I want, it's a good deal. It's probably the cheapest I'm going to find it for a while, right around the holidays. But yeah, I played all these games, felt fine. And then earlier today, I played just before we started, a couple hours before we started. We hopped on the Skype call. I played the Batman VR. And it was $20, and it is not worth 20. It's like a 45-minute game, and it's not even a game. Like so, basically, what you do in it is you're Batman. You starts off with you see your parents die. You're as a little kid, and it jumps ahead, and you put the costume on, which is kind of cool. And like you go into the Bat Cave, and you find out like Nightwing and Robin are gone, and you go find them. And it's basically just like a detective thing where you got like spoiler alert for this game, I guess. I don't know. It's over a year old, and it's a 45-minute tech demo. So Nightwing's dead. You find him dead in the alley. And you gotta do like this detective stuff, and you gotta like figure out how he died and who killed him, and it's basically just trying to find his murderer. And like halfway through it, I felt a little loopy, like I was feeling like a little like got the spins a little bit, and so I finished the game up. I kind of got through it real quick, and for like the next hour, I felt like everything was spinning. It's still kind of spinning. It's been like 4 hours, and everything's like I'm like a little lightheaded. Everything's kind of spinning. I went had to go lay down for a little bit actually, and I fell asleep for like 45 minutes. It helped a little bit, but I feel like I'm gonna be sick. Like I don't feel like I'm gonna be sick now, but I legitimately thought I was gonna throw up for a good hour or so there, and I had to just sit down and lay down. Like every time I would stand up, it just like it felt like I was on a cruise ship with like hitting waves. Like I was just like everything was like bouncing around. And like I said, still now it's messing with me a little bit. But
motion sickness, most likely.
Yeah. So like I was struggling with the game. Like I don't know what was wrong. Like the entire time, like I was playing all these other games with the setup, and it was fine. But with this game, for some reason, I was like, I don't know, it just wasn't I was like reaching for things, and like my hand would like disappear, and I'd be out like it'd be out of play area, or I'd be like I would teleport to the next area, and my like for some reason like I would be like clipped into like the wall or something like that, and like reaching for things just wasn't natural. Like you have to reach for like the stuff on your utility belt, and it wasn't like I would go put my hands in the spots like. And I tried recalibrating several times, and I think that did it. Was just like it wasn't. It just wasn't like line. It wasn't calibrated or wasn't lined up right. Other games, you know, they're wonky, whatever. Like I said, they're a lot of tech demos. I said that a lot, but that's what they are for the most part. But they work pretty much fine. And like I said, a lot of times I play them. I know I'm in a VR headset, but I forget I'm playing. I'm playing a game, and I reach for something. There's games where I played it where I'm just using the headset and I'm reaching with my hands to grab something, and I can't do it. You know, it's like it's. This one, it was like the entire time it just felt off. So yeah, so like I said, all the other stuff was cool and it's fun. I'm not gonna sit there and say this is like a totally buy this now kind of thing. Like there's no like I'm gonna check out Doom and Farpoint here soon, and I want to check out some of the more like actual like real games I'm starting to see and see how those are. Like everything I played so far is just small tech stuff, but yeah, so far, I mean, outside of this, I'm hoping this Batman VR thing was just kind of just a bad VR game, and not kind of something that's going to continue to happen to me. Because I hope I can actually use this stuff. Because there's some cool stuff coming on the horizon that I want to play. I got some cool stuff I want to play now, but yeah. So far, I mean, I'm not dissatisfied with my purchase. I want to, I'm going to keep playing stuff on it, and there's some, like I said, cool stuff coming up. But want to real quickly jump into something else I've been playing a little bit of. Talked about a little bit last week, but Zelda Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC is officially out. Have you got a chance to play it yet?
I haven't had a chance really to play it yet, but I'm going to dive into that sooner or later.
Yeah. When I played it, I played not all of it. I played it for a couple hours, and I talked about a little last week how like it was pretty tough. Like one of the shrines I couldn't beat. Finally finished the shrine up, beat it. I kept getting the last part and dying at the very last jump, and it's like a 3-minute long shrine. And I was getting more upset just because, like, like when you like keep dying in a spot, like there's like it's like multiple layers of a challenge, and every time you die, you gotta do the whole thing over again. And like you get like after a while, you just like kind of go through the motions of the first like 5 steps to get to the last step again on the spot you keep dying at, and then you get to that point where you're getting so like irritated that you keep dying like in the first spot or like the spot you beat 1,000 times. That was me multiple times. I kept dying at the first step after I beat it like 100 times, and I had I'm like, all right, I can't do it. I gotta walk away. I'm getting too frustrated, or I'm getting too impatient. Don't have the patience to get through this. And so anyways, finally went back. My third attempt sitting down trying to play it. I knocked it out like my third shot. I think third or fourth shot. But beat those. So basically, kind of go back a little bit. Starts off, you get this one-hit obliterator, what it's called, and it kills all the enemies with one hit. But you can't leave the Great Plateau, and you put the weapon down to start all over again. So you basically can't. Once you get this one-hit obliterator weapon, you can't do anything but these four shrines and these missions before continuing on. So I did all that. I beat the 4 shrines. You get the 4 orbs, and you can add another heart or stamina thing, and then it gives you 4 different areas you got to go to, and they each have like these little stones with like pictures of the map on it with like little dots on them. So basically, each pillar or each those 4 different areas to go to with 3 different pillars on for each 4 places you gotta go to, and each of them are like you gotta figure out on the map where those places are. So I went to the first one, and each one's for each guardian. So I went to the first one for Rivali, I think is what his name is, the bird, and I figured out the first place to go to, and he'd go like so. I guess minor spoiler. One of the places you gotta go to is if you in that area. If you remember, there's like a target practice thing. You can jump and you fly, or you jump and you get the thing and you like shoot the targets. So one of the things you gotta do is you gotta shoot 4 targets while in the air, and then a shrine comes up. So basically, you gotta there's 3 different things you gotta do for each guardian. You gotta so 12 altogether. You gotta beat all 12 challenges, and each challenge you beat gives you a shrine to complete. So there's 12 shrines you gotta do there. Or no, actually, I guess that'd be 12 shrines, 3 shrines for each guardian. Yeah, so 12. And for some reason I can't beat it. Like I hit 4 targets, and I'm like, am I doing the wrong thing? Maybe I didn't figure it out right. And I looked up. I actually went and watched a YouTube video to see if I was doing wrong. And as far as I can tell, I'm doing everything right. So I don't know what the hell, something minor I'm missing. But I was kind of reading a little more into it that without spoiling it, and I don't know, like, if I'm gonna keep, like, I'm gonna go back to it, but I'm not like as excited to go back to it as I once was. It seems like it's just more like challenges than like an extra like more like, it's not like Frozen Wilds for Horizon Zero Dawn where it's like, here's a whole other section of the map, here's a whole new story quest to do, here's all these like quests you can, like, this just feels like challenge mode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's like some kind of like more difficult challenges, more difficult shrines that you can do. It's more like Master Quest kind of stuff. Not as hard as Master Quest, but it feels like it's just more of that. Like, so I'm a little disappointed, I guess, in that. I was hoping, I don't know really what I was wanting out of Champions Ballad. Whether it was like more like another area of the map, or just more just shrines, like 30 new shrines to do added somewhere on the map, but or a new guardian or divine beast to do, and it does have a new divine beast in there. But yeah, I don't know. I guess reading about it and reading some reviews about what it is, I think if you know one of those people, hardcore Zelda guys that beat all the shrines or just want more stuff to do in Zelda Breath of the Wild, this is for you. I guess for someone like me that just like the story and like going across the world and just I don't know. I guess it's not something I really wanted. But yeah, I'm gonna check it out and keep playing it and see. Maybe my opinion will change. Maybe I have to get through this stuff to get to the better stuff. I don't know. But I love Breath of the Wild, and I definitely want to go back and play some more of it. So that's what I've been playing. What about you, Gables?
You know, speaking on the topic of the Nintendo Switch, like I've said previously, I did little bits of like research for what good games or something that I wanted to try on the Switch. Well, that led it up to me purchasing quite a few bit of eShop games on the Switch in general. So, as of now, I actually have a good solid, 5 or 6 new Switch games.
Wow.
That I actually have. I got a couple yesterday, but over the past month, I've been kind of accumulating a little bit of eShop like cash for just waiting on specific sales, specific dates, and I was able to pick up 6 brand new eShop games that I wanted to try out. So yesterday I went over to GameStop, picked up It'll Do 2, and The End Is Nigh, which is a new one that's by Nicalis, from the same maker that's done like Super Meat Boy, I think.
Cool.
So those 2 are new games that one of them even released this week. The other couple are a couple of games that have been commercial hits that I hadn't had a chance really to try out yet. One is SteamWorld Dig 2.
Nice.
I got that for $15. That was on sale. Then I got The Mummy Demastered, which that one's the one by Way Forward. That was the one that is supposed to be pretty fun. So I ended up getting that as well. And I actually picked up I Am Setsuna as well. I Am Setsuna was on sale. It was initially like $40, but it was like about $23, $24 last week. Yeah. And since I've heard quite a good things about it, I picked that one up. And let's see, anything else right here? I'm trying to think here. I said 6 new games. So one of the other ones I just actually purchased today was there was a game by the name of VOEZ or VOEZ or something. It is basically a rhythm music game, where it was on the iOS, on phones, actually, before coming out on the Switch, but it was actually one of the first eShop games put on the Switch earlier on whenever it launched. And basically, I will start off by what I've been playing by saying I've actually played a little bit of VOEZ, that game that I downloaded today. And I gotta admit, it's actually feels pretty fun to play, because basically the controls are entirely touch-based, so you do not have to use any of the Joy-Cons or any type of controllers, and you can only use it like in handheld mode only, obvious reasons. But basically it works sort of similar to a style of, say, how you would play on a piano, where there are notes falling down and stuff towards the bottom of the screen, and you got to touch things in order to, like, create chains of notes and stuff. From the get-go, you spend like about $25 to buy this game, right? Well, there's over 100 plus tracks that's on this game. They're listed from like A to Z, and I actually, before even starting like playing in depth with it, I checked out, and there's literally so many tracks that last anywhere between like a minute to about 3 minutes in length. And you can adjust the difficulties of each track and do this and do that. I am just having a ball playing this. I mean, it is literally something that's vastly different than what I had been playing in terms of action games, in terms of RPGs and all this other stuff. It's quite possibly pretty relaxing, in my honest opinion. I finished like about 5-6 tracks or stuff, then I ended up turning it off. So I spent like a good like half an hour or so playing the game. I'm going to be going back to this pretty soon, because, you know what, music rhythm games are one of those types of genres which I love trying out. And what's funny, it was either between that game or another game that released just this past year too. It's also by the same makers here. It's called Demo or something. Mm-hmm. It was also a mobile game that released in 2013, but is supposed to be a little like fundamentally better than what I bought today, VOEZ. So I may want to try to purchase that game down the line in the future. But yeah.
I just want to mention, this is a game I raved about back in 2014. Almost made my Game of the Year list back then, and it's called Frederick: The Resurrection of Music. So you probably remember me talking. It was a Wii U game.
Yes, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, and it's finally coming to the Switch. This was like a $2 game back on the Wii U, and I fell in love with this game. It's actually on iOS. There's actually a sequel to it, but for some reason it never made it to the Wii U. But anyways, it's being ported over the Switch. I imagine you can only play it in handheld mode. But it's gonna be $6. Comes out December 21st, which I believe is Thursday. And I just want to mention that to you because you were talking about VOEZ there, and also that it's a great fucking game, and you guys should support that game, especially because they're not gonna. I was like, they're probably gonna charge like $15 for this game, and it's only $6 because everything on Switch is like $15 or more. So that's awesome that this game is gonna be a good price, and it's a really cool game. So more people should check it out. It's like an hour long game too. So I just want to pimp that game out. Come on, that fucking day one. But go ahead. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's no problem right there. I actually seem to. That's probably something I'm going to try out. Potentially like for the next week. But VOEZ is definitely an interesting game that I will continue on whenever I feel like it. I'm definitely under no pressure to finish that game at all. It seems like the type of game that you can go back to like whenever you want. Just play a couple tracks and it's just soothing, relaxing. It's basically something you play in between big games or something that you want to finish. That's the feel I get from it. But that was like $25, that game. So it was quite a bit of worth, but then again, you basically paid for not just the game, but every single bit of the DLC tracks that came with the game when it was on mobile. So it had like 100 plus tracks on mobile too, from what I understand. So you get the whole package. And that's like one of the few types of games that are on the eShop right now that are mobile games. Some of them actually have their entire DLC content on, downloadable, like with the game on Switch, as opposed to just buy it like microtransaction stuff. So there's like another game that kind of makes use of it too, which I think it's like Implosion or something like that. It looks like an action slasher or something like that, but hey, maybe I'll say something about it if I ever buy it. But the next game is actually a game I beat just today. I ended up beating Snake Pass for the Nintendo Switch.
Cool. Nice. Okay.
Okay.
I've heard great things.
Okay, I'll say this right now. This is a good game. I know this is a good game, like the way it looks, the way the level designs are pretty fun, pretty intuitive too. I did have quite a bit of fun going through controlling Noodle, the snake, in order to try to terrain, collect little bits of jewels. Did I want to get 100% everything? Fuck no. But the reasoning why I was not tempted to even try to complete this game is a combination of a few things. And these are the few gripes that I've had about the game. One, the controls. The thing about Snake Pass is you control Noodle the snake, and a lot of the times when you're controlling it, it's based upon like weight-based physics with the snake itself. Combine that with some of the ways how the controls are laid out, where you press the A button to lift Noodle's head, and then you use the control stick, the left control stick, to you have to wave it back and forth. You basically go up and then just wave it to corner left or corner right or something like that to make a move, just to gain momentum, and combine that with the R trigger and stuff. But the execution of the controls sometimes can feel a little bit janky. And what I mean by a little bit janky, I mean there are times when you're wrapping around specific things. Say you're wrapping around a bamboo, a stick or something like that, to try to get up to a certain path, because you have to wrap Noodle around some bits of the bamboo sticks in order to get higher on a platform or something. There are times when you try to wrap around it, and sometimes the snake will not even wrap around fully, or even with the gripping, the grip button that I have with the L trigger. And then there are times when, I don't know why, but sometimes the weight of Noodle's head literally will go through and it will just drop, and all of a sudden the rest of the snake will just go down with him. So there were times, especially at the later stages, that when they incorporate wind elements and I try to wrap myself around specific bamboo terrain, I was just saying, there are times I try to lift his head up, and all of a sudden I just see his head go the opposite direction to where I wanted to go, because it just somehow just wants to bounce from one thing to another, which I try to correct, by trying to rewrap him again. But then again, I'm just seeing the snake kind of repel that, and all of a sudden he just gets unwrapped from the friggin' vine and then just falls to his death. I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? I had plenty of frustrating moments while I was playing the later stages of Snake Pass. Granted, this game, in its essence, is probably around a 4.5, 5 hour game, depending upon if you want to go after the collectibles, or go after the essence drops, or you pretty much have to collect all the jewels and stuff like that in order to beat the game. But like I said, the gameplay can be fun. The looks of the game are very artistic and very akin to old Rare games, from their art style at least. There's plenty of variety of levels. The level designs can actually be pretty kind of ingenious too. Sometimes you're just left with a feeling of okay, how am I going to get to this area right here? And all of a sudden you find a ledge, or you find a couple hidden collectibles that you didn't know were there. And it's oh, okay, that's pretty fun. That's pretty ingenious right there. But like I told you before, is like the biggest hurdle inside this game is just trying to master controls of Noodle the Snake, and then try to get him to not only solve puzzles, but also to try to get him up like the specific platforms, or to like avoid pits like that'll drop you to your death, or avoid spikes, or avoid like dropping into like lava pits or getting blown off edges and stuff. Yeah, that's where the challenge comes in, is the controls. So overall, I enjoyed Snake Pass. I thought it was a good game. Do I think it's worth $20? I think anybody who has any other games that they want to play as a priority first, I would recommend them just to play that instead of, like, say, Snake Pass at the moment. It's definitely a game where you want to wait for a discount. Like I said before, the only reason why I have the game to begin with is I saw a discount a few weeks ago where it's like $10. I'm like, okay, $10. I'll spend the money. I've been interested in playing the game. I got my money's worth. I definitely got my money's worth, and I definitely felt good. It's like, yeah. Was there, like, any questions that you had, though, Tyler?
No, I'm just kind of, you're kind of, I've heard really great things about that game when it first came out, but it came out early in the Switch. So,
it did.
I'm wondering if maybe the kind of love for it was just because it was really the first big eShop game for the Switch.
It was.
So.
It was. You haven't heard too much about it from anyone else ever since it released. I mean, it's on other platforms too. It's on PS4. It's on Xbox One. It's on Steam and stuff like that. But the reason why people give so much attention to the Switch version is one of the first major eShop games that came out on the system itself. Yeah. Along with VOEZ and stuff, the other game that I was playing.
Yeah. I think this one also had, like, it came to Switch first, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I mean, I don't really have any questions. It was a game I've actually been interested in. So I'm curious to hear your opinion. So yeah, it's definitely a game I might wait on until it's cheaper. I don't know if I'm going to, I imagine, the Switch is getting better with sales lately, but I might wait until it's like, I see like a, flash sale or something on PS4.
Dude,
like $5.
I highly recommend you just go ahead, just wait for a sale on it. I mean, it's a good game, but yet I would not spend full price for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is one final game that I have been playing, and I have been playing a lot of, and that's Destiny 2.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So earlier on this week, one of my coworkers and I had been debating upon like when we wanted to play like some bits of the campaign and stuff, the story missions. I think it was like it was last Friday, like before reporting last week's podcast, where we got like a little bit into it. Then this past Wednesday of this week, we leveled up quite a bit, actually. We got to like about from level 8 or 9 to like level 4, like 13, 14 or something like that. And at that point, we were already like halfway through the campaign. But, we basically went forth and played quite a bit of like the public events and like just leveled up a bit. We did some story missions. I mean, I gotta say though, the story missions in Destiny 2, they do feel better in terms of the content in Destiny 1. I think I said that before, I think last week too. But what's the meat and the potatoes of this though is like you go through the public events. There are options where you can go to separate adventure missions if you want to. They're basically the side missions of the main story. And so I've spent a lot of time today going through and completing some of them. Like one of them is like on Earth, and I do know there's like a couple more on like Titan that I've gone through and completed. I basically have no more adventure missions now on Titan, considering that I just did most of them.
Yeah. Titan's the one in the ocean, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time there going around. I got into a cycle of just going around like I leveled up like crazy in that one. I was the same as you though. I think I beat all the adventures or basically the bigger side quests before I even left the planet.
Oh, I know how you feel. I mean, I kind of felt like I was gonna do that eventually too, but I think I was just more or less when I was doing my playthroughs with one of my coworkers, it's like we were just going through like some of the main story missions, seeing like how some of them are. Well, having played a lot last night and some bits of it this morning and stuff, I'm officially over level 20.
Nice.
With my hunter, and I unlocked all of the freaking classes, the subclasses and stuff. So now not only do I have the Arc Strider class, but I got the Gunslinger class, and I got the last one, which is more like a Darkstalker or something like that. I gotta admit though, I kind of like the Gunslinger thing a little bit more, only because it's deals with like golden gun stuff, and various other like fun stuff I can do.
That's what I used in this game. It's the same supercharged attack that they had in the first game. That's what I used in this game too. I didn't care for the first one. It was just like you had like the spear, or not a spear, but it's like
it was more like a lance or something like that.
Yeah, and like you just go around, like you just like mash the R2 button. I like the golden gun better.
I know, man. The golden gun thing kind of felt better in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like the whole staff, the whole like thing that you were using with the Arc Strider class. While fun and stuff like that, I kind of like the idea of like using projectiles with the hunter, because it's like, okay, you do the gunslinger stuff, you can do like incendiary grenades, you can do this and that and stuff. And then on top of that, you have access to maybe use potentially 6 shots of a golden gun to where you can just beat enemies in one hit. You know, that felt great.
It does. It does.
My main objective for Destiny 2 right now is potentially playing a little bit more, probably tonight or tomorrow, and then maybe finishing up the campaign. Because I really wanted to go forth and want to finish Destiny 2 before the year's end, because if somehow I just go and just get enough of it or something, I just wanted to have the main campaign out of the way and just wait until whatever else comes out, maybe in the spring. You know, because I'm just in the mood where it's close towards the end of the year. There's a few weeks left before we do our big ol' end of the year podcast, and it's like I'm finishing up the rest of the games or trying to finish up the rest of the games that I had started, and now I'm just steamrolling through stuff. So Snake Pass was one of the games that I beat. Destiny 2, no doubt I'm going to beat that regardless of whether I'm playing with someone or not. I just want the campaign missions done so I can have that out of the way. So for the most part, I have been enjoying my time developing my character, playing with other people, and just getting things done in Destiny 2.
Yeah.
It's been fairly enjoyable.
Yeah, so, it's a really well-made game. Even I talked about back when I played it, but even the side quests are actually fairly well made, and
yes, they are
not boring and repetitive, and the story behind them is actually interesting. It's not like what were those called in the first game?
They were like patrol missions.
Yeah, the patrol missions. Those things were garbage. There's only 6. After you beat the adventure, the side quests and those, they just go away, and then there's little patrol missions you can do. I think after you finish the game, and there's actually a whole slew of things they give you after you beat the game. But yeah, it's a much better made game than the first one was.
So yeah, that's all I've been playing.
All right, well that's cool, man. It's good stuff this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, I gotta talk to Justin still and figure out, if he's gonna be able to make it for the show, for the game of the year. I would love to have him here, obviously, if he wants to be here. But yeah, we need to hopefully do that in the next couple weeks.
Yes.
So yeah, but moving on to some news. End of the year, pretty much everybody's shutting down. Not too much big stuff. I think the VGAs or the Video Game Awards and PSX was kind of the last splurge of big stuff coming out. Few small things we can kind of pass through real quick. This one I think is more for you. But Pokemon Crystal is coming to 3DS on January 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So Gold and Silver came out back in September.
Yep.
For $10 a piece. And we were talking about, it's kind of weird, Red, Blue, and Yellow came out the same day, but they didn't do that with Gold and Silver. Well, now we're getting Crystal in just over a month. And I guess in Japan there was like this contest, or like something they did where people had a chance of getting Celebi.
Yes.
And it was only in Japan. Well, now with this, there is a chance for everybody to get a Celebi after they complete the main game. So
That's amazing.
yeah. So nothing really to add on to that, I don't think. I mean, I'm actually. Are you planning on probably picking this up? I know you're a little burned out on Pokemon games, but
Let's see. Yes, I will eventually pick up Pokemon Crystal. I do like the fact that they gave you access to potentially catch a Celebi, because that was previously locked in Pokemon Crystal through like an event, or even like inside Japan, Pokemon Crystal had like an online component.
oh, yeah.
Believe it or not, it had a online component, this Game Boy Advance game, and it actually there was an adapter where you could attach the Game Boy Color to a line or something like that to a cell phone, and you were able to not only just set certain things, but it was more or less almost like a how the online infrastructure would later be implemented inside the DS Pokemon games until it eventually evolved into what it is right now with Sun and Moon. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of history right there, a little bit of trivia for you. But
cool.
yeah, I'm really interested in playing Pokemon Crystal only for the fact that they're obviously the third version of Gold and Silver. There are some better stuff. There are some better like Pokemon you can train and do things like across the entirety of the game and stuff. But like I said before, I'm probably not going to pick it up right away. It's kind of like the same thing what I did with Pokemon Yellow on the 3DS when it came to eShop, where it's like I played through Red and Blue entirely. I basically did like 20-something hours of Red, and then I steamrolled everything in Pokemon Blue with like under 10 hours.
Yeah, I remember that. Don't understand how you did that. But okay.
Oh, you don't understand how I did that?
No, it doesn't make sense to me. I got like 30 hours in the Pokemon Yellow, and I just got to the what's the road called before you get to the Elite Four?
Victory Road.
Victory Road, yeah. I just got there, and I'm like way under level. So,
well, yeah, with Pokemon Blue, I knew exactly what Pokemon to get and like implement what type of crit natures. Like with I basically went like with 4 creatures. I went with Blastoise, Sandslash, Jolteon, and I think Fearow. Yes, Fearow was it too. And basically Sandslash implemented because of the high speed it had. It could crit things with Slash, and then you have basically 4 Pokemon that you go through the entire game, like the NPC characters, not catch any other Pokemon. So I had basically everything else all planned out, and I went through in under 10 hours. So you take away the catching element, and the game is actually really short.
yeah,
in comparison.
Yeah, I took the 3 main starters plus Pikachu, and then Pidgeot, because you gotta have Pidgeot. He's the best.
Yeah,
my HM whore. So yeah, I went with my heart over the probably the smart way to do it.
Yeah.
So but moving on to some more Nintendo news. Nintendo Switch came out. They officially have reached 10 million sales as of December 1st of this year.
God damn.
So they are on pace to sell about 14 million through the end of February. So it came out March 3rd of this year. So they were on pace to sell 14 million before the year, about at the year mark of it being out. They'll have already outsold, if they keep this pace up, the Wii U. And I imagine they'll beat that with, that includes Black Friday sales. But I imagine December they're going to sell a crap ton of Switches as well. So like I said, the Wii U, they're already on pace to outsell that in less than a year than what the Wii U did in, I think, 5 years on the market, maybe
Roughly.
4.5. Yeah, 4.5, 5 years. 2012?
Well, technically, they're still selling Wii U games, so yeah, it's like 5 years on the market now.
But they into production, was it late last year, I want to say. So yeah, about 4 years on the market, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the thing wasn't selling super hot, and it was, I guess, the last couple of years. But they're also close to matching what the GameCube did, just shy of 22 million. They're not going to get that in the first year, but they have a real shot of beating that fairly soon. So yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool thing. It shows you how well the Switch is selling, how You know, Nintendo seems like for all intents and purposes have turned everything around.
Yep.
Kind of curious, you know, what 2018 is going to look like for them. They've definitely given us probably their three biggest games, franchise games: Mario Kart, Mario, and Zelda, in the first 9 months. So, I mean, I'm sure they got smashed in the way.
Oh yeah,
Mario Maker. You got Yoshi and Kirby for sure next year. Bayonetta 1 and 2,
and then Bayonetta 3 potentially being out the year, possibly.
I don't. They said it was in production. They announced it was in production, so I think that's
okay.
They got. You look at like Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon, and that Bayonetta 3. 2019, 2020 looks pretty good for those, maybe. So, but yeah, there's a crap ton of games that can still port over from the Wii U. I imagine we're gonna see every single big Wii U Nintendo game get ported over to the Switch eventually.
I hope so.
Still cross my fingers for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker 2. Still a chance. That game gets ported over, everybody need to fucking buy it. Okay?
I'll tell you what, man. Isn't it just remarkable, though? Isn't it just remarkable in the span of a year, like before the Switch came out, and then all of a sudden, right here, like 9 months after its release, like how well not only Nintendo's doing because of how much momentum that system has, but also like how everybody was so quick to snatch up the Switch because of how user-friendly that damn thing is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially considering how everybody was kind of came away from the reveal conference they had back in January. It was like, like everybody saw ARMS, and I mean, I admit I was there too with everybody. I'm like, and then you got 1-2 Switch. It's like, oh man, really? Okay, but I mean, they've knocked it out of the park. They Breath of the Wild being an all timer, Mario Odyssey being another all timer. They basically stole what little life was left of the Vita and took all the big indie games that was keeping that thing alive.
Yep.
And they're getting that, and for all it looks like, a lot of third parties they're dipping their toes into the Switch party right now, and which is more than we could say what they did with the Wii and the Wii U.
Yep.
So yeah, it's cool. It's definitely it is cool how this thing is taken off, and I just hope that they can sustain it with. I think worst case scenario for a lot of people is this game's gonna be an awesome console for Nintendo fans, but they have a real shot of making this I don't know if it's gonna be a Wii like hit, but it's gonna be potentially make this a huge hit for everybody, for casuals and everybody alike. So yeah, I'm excited for next year. I love Yoshi's Woolly World, another Yoshi game. Bayonetta 1 and 2, gladly pick that up and play that again. So yeah, next year looks pretty good. And also, the rumors are, and I think everybody already kind of knew it, but it sounds like there's been talks and rumors about this big direct in January. But I think they usually have one, I think, every year. It's going to be about kind of like what 2018 is going to look like. So I imagine we'll probably hear something about the
probably a lot of new games.
Probably I won't be surprised to hear about a couple more ports, but then they also maybe bringing in all the old games, and we'll probably hear something about the Nintendo Online services, because that's supposed to be starting up I think the beginning of 2018. So
yeah, that's true.
And what that's going to look like when we get our monthly games and all that stuff. So yeah, looks like 2018 has a good chance of being maybe not as good. I don't know how you can top Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, but could be a really good year still for Nintendo. But let's go ahead and move on to a couple other topics here real quick. I'm gonna run through this real quick. It's one of my favorite things of the month for video games, news wise. It is the November NPD numbers. So we talked about a couple weeks ago because they came out late because of Thanksgiving. But where we thought Battlefront 2 would end up being. Unfortunately, it looks like it did really well still. But kind of run through the top 20 real quick. So, number 20, Just Dance 2018. 19, WWE 2K18. 18, South Park Fractured But Whole. 17, Wolfenstein 2. 16, Mario Kart 8, still holding on.
Damn.
15, Breath of the Wild, still out there.
Damn.
Sims 4 at 14. 13 GTA 5, 12 Shadow of War, 11 Pokemon Ultra Moon, 10 Pokemon Ultra Sun, 9 Destiny 2, 8 Need for Speed Payback, FIFA 18 at 7, Mario Odyssey at 6, Madden 18 at 5, NBA 2K18 at 4, Assassin's Creed Origins at 3, Battlefront 2 at 2, and Call of Duty WW2 at 1. And a little fact for you, and this is kind of crazy, is that Call of Duty 2 WW2 is already the highest selling game of the year in the first 3 weeks in the market. Already has surpassed Destiny 2, surpassed Wildlands, and now Call of Duty has already surpassed Destiny 2. And it's actually the Call of Duty WW2 has already outsold Infinite Warfare. And Infinite Warfare has been on the market for a year. Obviously the sales for that have been really well. November, October was kind of like the big month, I think, for a lot of for everybody, I think. But November was like the big month for, like the big, huge like shooting fan market with like Battlefront 2 and WW2, and it's no surprise 1 and 2 there. No idea. I was hoping we get some numbers like sales wise for Battlefront 2, but it doesn't sound like we're getting it. But fortunately, it looks like it sold really well. And yeah, I don't know. Anything kind of stick out to you on this top 20 list?
Well, let's see. Any things that really stuck out towards the list, really, I am kind of... Well, actually, I'm not surprised about, like, say, Call of Duty or something like that. Because, well, that's just the thing, though. This is what happens when you don't piss off your fan base with a game concept that, they actually like. A lot of people were interested in going back to World War II style anyway, so them making that much profit, yeah, that's no surprise to me. But what is sort of a surprising is just seeing how many, well, not just seeing like Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon having two separate spots on the MPD. Yeah. Why not just combine them,
we'll get there in a second. I have something I want to talk about with that, or something I want to bring up. That's really funny, but go ahead.
Okay, but anyway, it's like seeing how many games that are lumped together and stuff like that, for not just lumped together, but like just seeing how many Switch games are right there that are still consistently selling.
Yeah.
Since then, that's a big deal right there. Breath of the Wild's been out since March, and it's still in the MPD things. Mario Kart 8 has been out since like around April of this past year.
Yeah, April.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has been out since April this past year, and it's
a port of a Wii U
selling.
game.
It's a port of a fucking Wii U game, which suggests to me that hardly any of the users that have the Switch now, out of the 10 million plus, probably did not even pick it up for the Wii U at all. So that's pretty interesting in and of itself. But anyway, you had some factoids here.
Yeah, so something that was really funny. So they break it down by console, like the NPD numbers. I always just go through the top 20 overall, and I'll look through everything and read some notes, and I'll look at see if anything stands out by console. But I was looking at the top 10 3DS games sold for the month of November. Number 10 is Pokemon Moon. Number 9 was Pokemon Sun. Yeah. Number 1 was Pokemon Ultra Sun. Number 2 was Pokemon Ultra Moon. And number 3 was the Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Deluxe Pack. So, so the top 5 of the top 10 selling games were Pokemon Sun, at some form of Pokemon Sun and Moon. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
So they do combine them together. So that tells me maybe those numbers are higher, because if they're counting the deluxe pack, the dual pack, as its own separate thing. Who knows? I'm not saying, I don't know if they'll be able to jump like Destiny 2 or anything, but yeah. I'm not too surprised about some of the numbers. I'm surprised to see Destiny 2 already dropped down to number 9, barely scratched into the top 10.
Yeah.
The two biggest disappointments to me is Need for Speed Payback and Battlefront 2. Both, Payback, a lot of people it kind of got lost in the shuffle with the whole Battlefront 2 thing, but Payback was apparently just as bad with microtransactions and riddled with it. They had to pull them out of there too, and they're totally revamping the way you progress in that game too. So yeah, another thing that the biggest outside of probably actually I take that back. Maybe the biggest bummer outside of that with EA with those two games is that Evil Within 2 already fallen out of the top 20.
Yep.
And you look at South Park and Wolfenstein, 17, 18, barely in the top 20. So I'm bummed to see that. Hope that those games kind of hold on and do well. I know South Park wasn't. I think they were in the top 5 last month. So
You know what's interesting though is like you talk about major fall off. Assassin's Creed is nowhere even to be found.
Oh, they're number 3.
Oh, is that number 3? Oh,
Yeah,
God
so
damn, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, they fell from 1 to 3, so they're still hanging on and doing probably very well. But yeah, the rest are like sports games sell really well. NBA 2K is always consistently one of the 3 or 4 highest selling games of the year, so no surprise there. But Odyssey at number 6, beating out FIFA, is big. So for this month. So yeah, overall, I guess no major surprise. I was being a little more hopeful about Battlefront 2. I'm surprised to see Payback being up there, but it's Need for Speed. I guess we shouldn't be surprised if that game's still around. But moving on to our last topic for the day. So Take-Two, they are the parent company for Rockstar and the 2K out there. So they own pretty much a lot of the biggest franchises out there, GTA and NBA, obviously. Or NBA 2K games and WWE 2K games. But they have announced this new kind of indie game label called Private Division. So what they're doing is basically small indie companies. Take-Two will publish your game, but basically they get the rights to whatever it is you make. So if you make the next big, say you make this Pixar, you make the Toy Story of video games. Kind of thing where like there's huge marketing deals and all this like toys and all that shit. They own all the rights to everything. So, but they're going to publish all your games. They're going to help pay for it and help you out. And this is kind of a new thing they're doing. They said don't expect there'll be no games out before March 31st of 2019. So it's going to be a couple years, probably a year and a half to 2 years before you even see anything from this, or play a game from this. But they've already got a few big names out there for people they're bringing in. So they actually got one of the creators of Assassin's Creed, his new game called Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey, is under the umbrella now. They're making a game for Private Division. They also have a unannounced RPG from the Fallout New Vegas guys of Obsidian.
Oh, Obsidian.
Yep. So. A lot of unannounced games. The Ancestors Humankind Odyssey is the only game that actually has a name. And actually, there's like a trailer out there, but there's no gameplay. It's like a game that takes place 10 million years ago during, I think, about the Ice Age or something like that. I didn't see the trailer, but yeah. So that's the only one that's out there with a name so far. Also, they have former DICE devs are coming out. A company called The Outsiders. They're making an unannounced RPG. Former Halo co-creator. He is on board now. He's making a sci-fi FPS. His company is V1 Interactive, and they also earlier this year acquired the rights to the space flight sim Kerbal Space Program. So they're definitely making some moves. So kind of cool to see this. I think this is awesome that we're gonna see some. Looks like we're gonna see some money. Put into some of these smaller games. Like I think we've talked about it. A lot of people have talked about it, but kind of that it seems like more and more over the last 5 or 6 years now, it's been like indie games and it's been AAA games.
Yep.
And even indie games are getting bigger. You look at games like The Witness last year, or Inside last year, or Overwatch. They're definitely getting better and a little bigger, but they're still indie games, still smaller games, but they're not we're not seeing a lot of those the Dead Spaces and the Mirror's Edges like we used to.
We're not seeing the middle tier sort of games that we have accustomed to have been seeing ever since the past couple generations and stuff. The fallout of middle tier games is what we are currently lacking right now.
Yeah. It seems like it's hard to complain when you look at the last couple of years has been great for games. I think
Yeah.
Especially this year, you look like I've said it a few weeks ago. Like this is the year where it felt like all the AAA games kind of fell in 2017,
Yep.
and almost all of them hit. There's a couple
Yep.
of bad ones, but they're all for the most part like good to like all time great. So it's hard to complain about like about games not being as good as they were back then, but you look at, I mean, like Hellblade this year was kind of like the prime example. They even like, I can't think of the name that made him. I wanted to say Team Ninja, but that's wrong. But anyways, they called that game an indie AAA game, and it's like I don't know what you call it. I mean, is it double A? I don't know. I mean, for using baseball terms.
The term double A, yeah, that would be exactly sort of like the type of styling that I would name it. But it's like it's just basically a middle tier game, like how Saints Row I would be considered like a middle tier game, even though it's considered like, say, they've had quite a few games underneath the publisher stuff. But the thing is, the quality, everything else of it is more or less the type of game that's just under a big budget AAA game.
Yeah.
You know?
Evil Within 2 maybe is it, I don't know what the budget is in that game, but it could be considered a middle tier game.
It's worse, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping this. I like this, and I hope we. I mean, that's something I would like to see more of. Is really well made games that gets a marketing push and has a good budget behind it, and it a lot of times hopefully be something different. It looks like for the most part. I mean, this we've talked about this over the course of us doing the show for almost 5 years now, but like really kind of towards when we started doing the show, it's like to like now it's like most of the big games, like most of all the big AAA, all the big publisher games, it's a pretty much formulaic in a way where like they all kind of went towards the games as service stuff, like a Destiny 2, open world kind of like open worlds, like everything is going towards that. It's like we got to make this we want, instead of just having a really good tight 5, 10, 15 hour game, we're gonna make these huge worlds with hundreds of hours, and we're gonna support these games for years and years and years, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not trying to knock it. There's definitely been some great ones of those out over the last 4 or 5 years or so, over the last 10 years. But you look at like when you really want something different, we gotta go to the indie games to get like some really cool creative stuff, and that's been the way for a decade or so. But it was cool to like see some like me being I love single player games. I love Evil Within. I love Dead Space, Mirror's Edge, and they're like not nice to say they're like drastically different than anything we've ever played before. Mirror's Edge, I think, is, and you can maybe make art for Dead Space, but they kind of took the genres they were in, or they made the brand new genre, and they kind of took it. Like I always said, Dead Space was. They took the mantle that Resident Evil was back in the generation before that, the PS1, PS2 era, and they brought it to the 360. And they tried to make it bigger than it was, and they tried to change it. Dead Space 3 kind of flopped because they made it a bigger game, and they made it Resident Evil 5. They just kind of got there two games earlier than what Resident Evil did. But yeah, I love that this is happening, and I hope this is successful, because I would love to see more games like a Hellblade out there, or like a Evil Within 2, something different, something fresh. And with some good, like, I'm not a graphics snob, but I like to see some good high-powered games. And that would also attract, because there's people out there, they just, like, look at the box. They look at what they only play wherever they see when they're watching football, or like they see on ads. And a lot of those indie, like The Witness isn't going to get a huge marketing push on television. You're not going to see commercials for it. You might see it in the PSN store or something like that. For people to see games like this and see something hopefully different and new, I hope this is successful. I look at like EA did a thing. Unfortunately, they made Unravel, which is possibly worse than what they did with Battlefront 2. It's debatable. It's debatable. That might be a conversation we have for their day when Justin gets here. Mm-hmm. Which is worse, Battlefront 2 microtransactions are Unraveled, and then you got Faye coming out here. It's supposed to come out next year. And I don't know why it's happened. Why Ubisoft stopped, but they had like the cool UbiArt stuff come. Like 2014 was an awesome year. They had like Child of Light, Valiant Heart, and Rayman Legends all in like a few month period drop, and those are like Valiant Heart and Child of Light were like two $20 downloadable games that were awesome.
Yep.
Both of which landed in my high on my top 10 list that year. And you got Rayman Legend, which was a really good game. Rayman Origins was a really good game. And they just haven't done that since. I mean, they just keep porting Rayman Legend. Yeah, I would love to see more of this. And I hope more companies do this. Like, it seems like, and it's not just video games. Like, you look at movies, like we see like now as we see is more spin-offs than ever before. We see more Marvel movies than ever before. People are playing it somewhat safe. I mean, they're spending more money than ever, but they're spending more money on things that they know will make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Like every Marvel movie comes out is a guaranteed, even if it's a mediocre one, it's gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars. If it's an Avenger movie, they're gonna make billions of dollars. DC movies are considered huge disappointments by WB, but it still rakes in almost like it's like $800-900 million. So we have gone away from like Netflix is like kind of the whole like the one thing, and Amazon Prime to a smaller extent are like kind of like they're bringing back those smaller budget $5-10 million movies that would make in box offices might make 30 or 40 million. Like they don't want like everybody like now all the big companies are just swinging for the fences and they're playing it safe, but it's profitable. I understand why, but it's like there's this market that we're missing in just all things entertainment. I think that I hope that like something like Netflix stuff like this private division stuff will bring back these cooler smaller things, or middle tier things. But yeah, sorry I went on a bit of a rant there, but yeah. What about you, Gables?
I almost forgot what we were freaking talking about. But yeah, Rockstar Games. What was that? Rockstar Games, like
Take Two.
Take Two. Yeah, Take Two with the freaking like little indie stuff. That's awesome though. I mean, anything to just help support like the endeavors of game creators and stuff like that, because you need like some place in order to spread out your thoughts and ideas and creative concepts away from a corporate structure sometimes, especially if it's like ones that may have like heavy emphasis upon like different type of objectives, say like an Activision or an EA or maybe even like a Gearbox or whatever the hell, where it's like you have a set thing that they want to get done. Their main key, like with any company, is just to earn money, and so it's like having the funds from another company and then like having them to express themselves, the indie developers having to express themselves through like what kind of games they make. That's really awesome though that Take Two is offering this at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of a cool thing when they were talking about it, and I was reading some of the quotes from it, and one of the people from Take Two was talking about a lot of these people. Like you look at like they have the creator from Assassin's Creed, they have one of the co-creators of Halo, people like Obsidian coming in, people from DICE. Like they get these people that have worked on these big projects before, so they probably have a pretty good idea of talking about working on big triple, like the biggest of the biggest games. And a lot of them, they talk about like people that just got burnt out doing big AAA games, doing the same thing over and over again, working on 200-300 people crew. Now they're going to be able to work on it's maybe a couple dozen people working on these small games. It's a little more tight, and it's going to be something that they're more excited to do. It's something a little more personal. So that's kind of cool that they're giving these people this outlet to do these things. So Take Two has done some shitty things in the past. You look at like NBA 2K this year, especially.
Yep.
Coming out a couple weeks ago or a month ago about how they're more worried about getting more money, getting more. They're less worried about sales, how many copies of game sells, and more worried about how we're gonna make money off the gamers they have over time with microtransactions and shit like that. So and DLC, season passes, whatever. But this is a cool thing, and this is a good, I think, PR move for them. And like I said, hopefully it's successful, because I would love to see more people do this and more people get an opportunity to do what they want to do and do what they love. So yeah, super awesome. But I think that's gonna wrap up the show for this week. I want to thank you guys for listening. Like I said, I don't really know what the plan is for the next few weeks. Like I said, we're gonna work out something. Probably gonna do like a year in review show, and then do obviously our game of the year stuff. I don't know when those are gonna land. Maybe next week. Could be a couple weeks out. It's either gonna be next week or 2 weeks out. One of those two. Well, that stuff will start happening. But yeah. Like I said, thank you guys for listening. If you guys want to hear more from us, we have a Facebook page and group. It is Drunk Nerds Podcast on there. Like and join us, please. And also on iTunes, we are there. Obviously, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us, please. Give us 5-star reviews. Leave a nice little comment. We really appreciate that. Makes it better. It makes it easier for people to find us, which is good for us. It means more people get to hear us. Hear Gables' beautiful voice. And possibly find out the numbers to his credit card. Also on YouTube, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us on there. Podcast goes up there as well. So if you guys are more YouTube people, we are on there. You can listen to the show. Give us a thumbs up. We are like whatever the hell it is. Thumbs up, please, and subscribe. And also on Twitter at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. And on Twitch, I always forget Twitch. Drunk Nerds Podcast. Follow us on there. Send us friend requests. Friends are good. We like friends. Friends are awesome. We want to be your friend. But yeah, subscribe to us on there, or follow us on there. Sorry. But once again, thank you guys for listening. I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next week, everyone, I hope you have yourself a good week. Hope you play yourself some great games, and above all else, stay safe through the holiday week.
Yes. Excuse me. You too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.